There was a fellow that I saw once that his keg fridge, it had weight sensors, and so then he had two small displays up in the kitchen, and so he could change what beer name it was, and it would show how much was left in the keg based on weight, which I thought was pretty dope.
That's what digital pour does.
Is that what they do?
Digital pour, it uses flow meters.
Yeah.
But on the menu, if you're utilizing the digital pour menu, it shows next to each beer like a little image of a keg, and then it's filled with like green liquid. And as you pour beer, that green liquid level goes down. And so like usually places that utilize that, I use it to my advantage, because then I'll be like, oh, I want that one where it's near. I see it's about the keg is about to kick.
Yeah.
Because then most places, like the keg will kick and you'll get a free beer out of it.
Yeah, that's
or
it.
Free
like,
half beer.
It was only half pour,
usually,
so it's on the house.
Like, I want to get fucked up tonight. All right, let's go, after all these ones that are about to kick.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Smart. Planning.
Stay out late to gastrobate and hang out with our friends. We'll share a few good microbrews, the good times never end. From seaside to the mountains, we'll travel many lands. Eateth of their pub cuisine and hear their local bands. We'll drink it from a bottle in a can or what's on tap. We'll rate each brew as we do with fairness and a map. Spirits are up, we'll fill our cup, the wind is in our sails. We'll drunkenly mix metaphors and travel hoppy trails.
Welcome back to Hoppy Trails, a show where you don't have to pinch us to get to our pot of gold.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Travis. And I love how you just had nothing to say after that. Just like, what are you talking about?
I had to pinch myself. Am I really here?
Well, anybody who doesn't realize, we're recording this on St. Patty's Day. You will be listening to it. Nick is wearing his green.
There's got some green in the background.
I've got a green barrel
green on your shirt.
On my shirt, some green
that
on the
looks
hat.
Familiar.
Yeah.
Where you got that from?
Yeah. This, by the time people are listening, they will have all the details on our trip, but let's show it again.
Wood-aged beer.
Wood-aged beer festival.
Woodstock.
Oh, man. What a good time that was.
That was a blast. That was
such a blast.
Don't remember the Uber ride home, but that's okay, because I just remember having a great time.
That's it. Yeah, fond memories. Foggy, but fond.
Hazy, if you will.
Hazy. There you go.
Actually, Not that festival. That wasn't hazy. That was just all darkness.
That it was.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I'm surprised nobody used that for a beer name.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. No. Yeah. But somebody may have, and it just, didn't form a long-term memory for some reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I am, for anybody who can see, my background's not regular here because I'm moving my studio area downstairs into our guest room area, which will be my new spot because many of you may know we're having a second child, and each child needs their own room, apparently. So I'm getting kicked out of my office studio space so we can get that set up for the new baby. So here I am. I'm in a temporary. I'm continuing the move, and eventually I'll have background and stuff like that looks, a little more appropriate. If you have a third
one, you'll be recording from the bathroom.
Look, there's not going to be any third ones. No, that's it. 2. That's the limit. That is the limit. I don't want to be outnumbered, right? As it is, it's 2-1. It's going to be hard enough when it's 2 versus 2. But no, once you get outnumbered, that's when it all falls apart. Yeah. Well, Nick, why don't we give a little shout out to our patrons?
Hi, Carlos. Hi, Billy.
Yeah.
Hi, Jared.
Yeah.
Hi, Robert.
Yeah.
I feel like I just talked on Romper Room there.
That's it.
Not many people understand that reference, but
all of our patrons are old enough to remember Romper Room, 100%.
I thought it was only a Bay Area thing, though.
Was it really?
Yeah, I think Romper Room was only the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh my God, was it just like a local? That's crazy.
It was, because I've made the reference other times in the past, and people are like, what the fuck was a Romper Room?
Oh man, you know what? I guess that does make more sense with doing the birthdays and like that, because if it was a national broadcast, the whole thing would just be birthdays the whole episode. So,
yeah, pretty much.
That makes sense. Yeah. Everyone go on YouTube and look for Romper Room. It's good wholesome. I actually don't know. It was a long time ago. Maybe it wasn't wholesome, but I was raised on it. So
yep.
Yeah.
Totally. And Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, Reading Rainbow, 100%.
LeVar Burton.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, we are. This is our first episode back after the South Carolina. Obviously, everyone listening, you had the part 1 and part 2 of the South Carolina trip. I am wearing the Woodstock shirt. We had such a blast on that. You've all heard a lot about it.
The GBX Greenville Beer Exchange shirt.
Yes.
Thank you, Zach. I also have a GBX glass here that I'm about to fill up with some delicious beer.
Yeah. Yeah, but, that was such a fun place, and Zach was so chill giving us that interview and everything.
Oh, for sure.
Really awesome.
And dude, I love that they worked in sync with the Woodstock Fest happening, and they had like 20 different barley wines on
Yes,
tap
they did.
that weekend. Incredible. That was a lot of amazing options that they had there.
Yeah,
and then
it really was.
Talking to Zach, we learned that he's also a coffee roaster at I think it was called Leopard Forest Coffee Roasting Company, which is just in a town just north of Greenville.
Yeah.
Which I just ordered some beans from them, so hopefully I'll be receiving those within the next week to try out my new espresso machine.
Yeah.
So thank you, Zach, for a good little time at the Greenville Beer Exchange as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nick, shoot me a link on those beans. I'm going to get some too and try it out. It's it's one of those things where it's very difficult to find good coffee just in a regular store, and it's not cheap because a lot goes into properly roasting and everything like that. But
sure.
Yeah, I'd love to get my hands on some good coffee and start the day off right. Or if you're Nick and his new espresso machine, start the day, continue the morning, early afternoon, and night off right,
start the day off right 5 times each day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what are you about to crack open, Travis?
I don't have anything in my hands right now because I've got a couple of errands to run right after this record. And so I don't have a beer on me right now. I've got a few in the fridge. I've got a Heady Topper, which I've seen posted around. Are you hip to this, the Heady Topper?
Oh yeah, I've had it quite a few times.
What do you think? Have you sent me any of those?
I don't know, but it's been a long time since I've had one. But
yeah.
I don't know. Probably the first time I had a Heady Topper was probably about 8-10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. East Coast beer. It's from whatchamacallit. I can't think of it right now. Something The Alchemist or something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a real basic can. It's just the silver with the black on it, and one of our local establishments, as many do, they've got their 40 taps. Then they've got the refrigerator full of cans. They have actually a much smaller selection at this place, but it changes regularly, and they've got a lot of out of state stuff. Midwest, East Coast, the South, everything. They get such a wide variety that I usually go in there. I'm just like, I'll just grab 12 different ones and see what's what. And I saw that in there, so I've got it in the fridge now. I'll be cracking that probably later today. So anybody listening right now, you'll probably have already seen something on the Instagram. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I have to go take some photos later, so I'm going to loosen up a little bit.
Speaking of the Instagram, I want to do a little shout out here and a little call to action. So we're at over 350, which is great if it's your grandmother's account. But, here we are, professionals, putting out amazing top quality content. You all saw, if you're one of our Instagram followers, I poured a beer onto my face and some of it got in my nose. I do that for you. I do it for you. And here's what you can do for us. You can go to the Instagram. If you are not a follower, be a follower. Share our stuff. See if you can get some other people to follow us. Let's do a big push, a big drive. And let's see if we can get up to 500, right? I mean, I know that's still pretty modest. A lot of people, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. Listen, we're not there yet. We'll work on that once we get to that spot. But let's hit 500. Let's see if we can get 500 followers on the Instagram.
Yes. Please help us. 500.
Yeah. Help us help you.
So I'm about to pull out my beer, but I've been keeping it cool on my desk in this nifty 3D printed beer koozie that's got our logo on it here.
Yes.
Pretty freaking cool.
It's got amazing.
Some little vent holes at the bottom. So, because otherwise, if those holes weren't there, you wouldn't be able to take the can out of it.
Yeah.
It would create such an extreme suction. So
Look at
Boom.
that.
There we
That's a
go.
beautifully snug fit too.
It is extremely snug. In fact, so snug that some cans that have a little thicker label than normal,
Yeah.
you really got to work them in there.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then you really got to work them out.
you put on a little bit of Barry White is what you do, and you got to spend some time. Don't
Whisper
just
some
jam it in
sweet
there.
nothings into
A little bit of work first, maybe a glass of wine.
Yeah, you just come on out right now. Anyways,
just like that.
So I'm drinking Grains of Virtue Rice Crispy Marshmallow Lager.
Ooh.
Yeah. So just keeping it light. Little light here. Little maybe marshmallowy flavor.
Yeah.
Who knows? We shall see. Oh, goodness.
Very nice.
That,
Very nice.
Oh, I got a little bit on my iPad screen there.
All right. So Rice Krispie treat lager?
It was just not rice. Well, I mean, it's got a Rice Krispie treat on it, but it's did it cut marsh? Yeah, Rice Krispie marshmallow lager.
That's amazing.
So I'm assuming it's probably done with, it's like a rice lager.
Yeah.
And but I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, let's find out here.
Let's see that. Oh, look at that.
Nice
beautifully clear.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Very clear, especially since it's, magnifying the green light behind it perfectly.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Dude.
How is it?
That's a great light lager. Very crisp. But on the nose, it's like a marshmallowy kind of treat.
Yeah.
And
very nice.
It's got a bit of a sweetness behind it. This is a very good lager. Damn, I wish I grabbed more cans of this. This is really good.
Yeah, it's so interesting. We've been seeing a lot of the, with the stouts and everything, and there've been, going in with the fruits and pancakes and chocolates and s'mores and all these different things for years and years. And you wonder what's gonna be kind of the next thing. And I would have never thought of that, but yeah, why can't we do some of those similar flavors with a lager? That's
why
brilliant.
Not?
Yeah.
This is a great lager. I've never had one where it's not like I say it's sweet, but it's not overly sweet.
Yeah.
It's a nice balance. Wow. My brain is almost confused because I would expect that aroma and flavor to come out of a stout.
Yeah.
But I'm clearly drinking a lager.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
That is good. It's almost like a borderline, like a cream ale.
Ah, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Grains of Virtue, where are they out of?
Where did I get this? I don't know.
I know I've had their beers before, but I can't remember where I've gotten them or where they're out of.
I'm going to have to look them up real quick. But I know that I've had Oh, no. Really? So Grains of Virtue was in Oakdale. Notice I said was.
Uh-oh.
It's on Google, it's saying permanently closed.
Oh,
dude, no.
Well, did they maybe move locations, or they're out, they're done?
It doesn't even give it gives an address, but yeah, what the?
Oh, man.
No.
That's
man,
rough.
even when you go to their website, it just says blank page and it just says private site.
Oh, no. Okay.
Man, that's sad.
It's unfortunate.
Man, this was a great beer, and I know I've had other beers from them before too.
Yeah.
That were also great, but dang, that sucks. I feel like that's well, I mean, I'm sure we've talked about it recently too, but it's just all too common lately.
Yeah.
There's been a lot that have been closing in the Bay Area as well, but
yeah, there's been a little bit of a pullback, and as we've discussed before, I think there was for a long time a big expansion. A lot of people were jumping on it and doing the big expansion to distributing everywhere is a harder business model to do these days. And so, like some of the other places we've talked to, where they're keeping it more local now and just saying RJ Rocker, right? We talked to them. They've got
for sure
decent production size, but they keep it very local. And they're like, we want you to come to the brewery. We've got some other places around where you can get our beer, but we're not shipping it up to New York anymore,
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so I think having that
ultimately
pullback,
it's going to cost a lot more to do that. And I think, obviously getting people to come to the brewery and everything, especially if you're, you've got a full kitchen and you're offering food and everything, that's going to bring you, more revenue.
yeah,
Rather than
100%.
just, distributing beer. So,
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's always more profitable to sell your own beer across the bar in a pint glass. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Because you're getting the full price on it, and you're not paying multiple other people as an intermediary, right? So
Yeah.
that's going to be the most profitable for a brewery every time. And then the further you're distributing, the more competition you have. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So you're not going to have that. Here are my 20 locations that we have a permanent tap handle we're selling all the time. It's you have 200 places that you're constantly having to hit them up and see, do you have a spot for my beer, do you not, and okay, maybe hit you up in 2 months or whatever. So
Yep.
yeah, no, absolutely.
And then I feel like as the more that you grow distribution in that regards, you lose all control of the consistency of the, I guess, the experience or enjoyment of the beer. Because now, like, if you're distributing that out that far, whether it's to a place that's going to have it on tap or place that has it in cans, are they refrigerating, keeping it cooled properly? Are there lines cleaned regularly? Because, like,
Right.
all of these factors can affect how your beer is going to taste. And now all of a sudden, if those factors aren't in line with your standards, then you have people drinking your beer that they think it's shit when really
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and when it's all in your local area, you can set up just a routine of
Exactly.
checking into places from time to time. If
Exactly.
it's 3 states away, you can't
For
you
sure.
just can't. Yeah.
Yep. If I
Well,
was
here's
running a brewery, I'd want to be able to go to the different places that had it on tap so that I can make sure, like, go and walk in, enjoy a beer, and hopefully enjoy it and make sure that they're serving it properly.
Absolutely. Well, and you saw, I recently posted on Instagram that Brewing, again, everybody who doesn't know, member owners, cooperative brewery, currently the president of the board. But so we, are doing sales, and we're doing that direct sales. We're keeping it very local to wherever we are. And I just recently went out, one of the customers we sold to, and I went out there and had our beer on tap there because, yeah, you can absolutely check it. One, it supports your own brewery, but like you said, I can go check it. If there's something off about it, I can ask them, "Hey, why
Yeah.
is my beer tasting weird?" I can check it right there. So, yeah. Well, okay. Now I want to talk about pastrami.
Pastrami Watch, yeah!
Pastrami Watch. Let's talk
It
pastrami.
seems like that's what everybody wants to talk about these days. So,
I'm telling
you
you.
you make a little pastrami and people all of a sudden are like, "Oh, this is good. Let's talk pastrami."
Well, that's what happens
Um,
when you make a really, really, really good top shelf pastrami, man. I've said it before. The pastrami is amazing. The spice blend you're using, it blows me away. Top quality, texture, all of that's there. It's outstanding. It's outstanding.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just recently shipped some to you.
Yes, you did.
And then you were able to share that with our friend Alejandro with Ollie's cheesesteaks.
Yes, I did.
And I've shared it with some people. I've shared it with some neighbors here. Another, recent new friend that I've made that runs a food cart in Eugene. And he really likes it a lot. So does his
Yeah.
partner. Shout out to Mikey and Andre with Hot Honey Lunch Truck. Such great food. I will go deeper into talking about them, if not this episode, probably the next episode, because and we'll probably have Mikey, at least Mikey, come on sometime and talk to him because he's a
Yeah.
really great guy. He's got so much knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
Anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, pastrami is great. What I sent you and what I've been handing out to everybody is brisket
Yeah.
pastrami. But I've been wanting to explore into using different cuts of meat. One, from an economical standpoint, and two, getting more meat. Don't get me wrong, I love fat. Fat is our friend, and fat is
Sure.
flavor.
Yes,
But
it is.
I don't always appreciate the big fat strip that runs right through my already kind of narrow piece of pastrami from the brisket. But
Yeah.
brisket's gonna brisket, and they've got just big fat streaks right through the middle of them.
It's true.
So
It's very interesting because you started telling me about some of the other cuts you were going to use, and I thought, yeah, I do know that I've seen it very different as far as shapes and textures before. And then, after Alejandro was like, "Hey man, this stuff is amazing. When is Nick gonna, become a professional full-time pastrami supplier?" And so I started like looking at different stuff and like, "Oh yeah, how does this work?" One of the big meat purveyors that does, kind of wholesale to various restaurants and like that. I was looking on their website and they were like, "Oh yeah, here are the different styles that we do." And I'm looking at it and there was 4, maybe 5 different cuts that they have, and they're talking about how different ones are better for this or that or the other thing, and some are like, these are outstanding for sandwiches, but don't use them on like a catering tray because it doesn't have the visual appeal. And these ones, if you're doing a catering tray, use this cut of meat because it'll give you that visual appeal.
send
And
me that, please.
I will 100%. But yeah, it was really interesting, and it was more cuts of meat than I would have guessed people would be using for it. And it makes sense, right? Because different characteristics of the meat, you're
Oh, for
gonna get a
sure.
different output.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I've now it's already been brined, smoked, steamed. It's just been chilling in my fridge, vacuum sealed. I'm probably gonna put it through the meat slicer this week. And that was a top round that I bought about a month ago.
yeah,
But then before brining, I took that top round and I didn't realize how much fat and other stuff there is to a top round. I mean, it was
yeah,
this big old honking cryovac thing of, it was like 25 pounds of meat in total.
yeah,
Um, so then I went ahead and I just sectioned that all the way down into a few different pieces. And there's 2 big hunks that I feel like I'm going to make some really nice big fat slices,
yeah,
where there's, it's more, the meat to fat ratio is far better.
yeah,
Um, but I still like, that cost me, I think, around like 450 a pound or so. And I
yeah,
still had to put in quite a bit of work trimming it all down and everything.
yeah,
So I was still on the hunt for something that was going to be a little bit cheaper cut of meat, but, and had just enough fat to it for the flavor, but not too much where I had to spend much time trimming. So
right.
I think I've found that now in Eye of Round. I just purchased some the other day. 3 Eye of Rounds. So like a total of like, I think around 24 pounds in total between
Okay.
the 3.
Yeah,
Um, and those, like, they have a nice little thin layer of external fat, a little bit of silver skin that I might have to trim off, but I just need to cut them down into shorter sections to fit better in the meat slicer.
yeah,
And then they're going to go in the brine, and they should be ready in a few weeks. But I think the Eye of Round is what's going to provide the nice big fat round slices, which,
yeah,
like when you go to like a chef store or whatever and you see like, they've got the vacuum sealed pastrami all in one big thing ready to be sliced up.
yeah,
I actually noticed the other day one said top round. I was like, oh, perfect. And it was a nice big section
yeah.
of meat. So I think I'm going to get that out of the Eye of Round, and hopefully it has enough fat to it, but we'll find out. Regardless, I feel like in this case, between the brine and the rub, even if there isn't really any fat to it, like just the flavors alone from the brining and the rub are gonna, overcome the lack of the fat. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's it's one of those things that depending on the cut and the constitution of it and everything, you can adjust, thickness of the slice or whatever needs to be done
yeah,
because, realistically, the flavor that you're getting from that brine and then the spice rub and everything, so outstanding, just an amazing, amazing flavor. And if it is one that like, okay, this one has a little bit less of the connective tissue, so it's not going to break down as much, that's fine. Run that through on a thinner slice and you're still just going to get that really nice, easy to bite through. And it's going to be for a different kind of sandwich and everything, but that flavor is going to shine through. I can't wait to see how these other ones turn out. And yeah, I mean, Nick, you ship me, a bunch of what about half pound to a pack, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so each
About
one's
half a
about a
pound
half a
per
pound.
package. Yeah,
I take that half a pound and I throw that onto a sandwich. Just, I mean, it's that's one serving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I actually did little bit of sacrilege on the last one because you ask a purist, right? And it's you get some rye bread and you put the pastrami on there and then you put another piece of rye bread on top and you eat it, and you don't ask for a bunch of nonsense. Now, I will do that sometimes, but I
I'm
also
not a
like to
purist.
do. Yeah, well, and that's the thing is I feel like, okay, that's the way, but also they don't shame people for adding some stuff on. So, I did some really thin sliced red onion on there. I'm a fan of mayonnaise on a sandwich. I know a lot of people aren't. I am. I like it. It seals the bread, etc. There are other virtues. We'll have that debate one day. But I put the mayonnaise on the bread. I put the thinly sliced red onions. My sister every year grows a bunch of these chilies and then pickles them. So they're a little tangy, a little bit
Nice.
sweet, little heat. I've got jars and
Awesome.
jars of them every year. So I get a big handful of those, throw it down on there, stack that pastrami on top. Hot, of course, heat it all up, give it a nice steam first, bring it up to temperature, get it on there. And then I lay some provolone on top. Okay. And it
Hmm.
starts to melt with the heat of the pastrami. I hit it with my, torch that I've got there just to give it a
Yep.
little crispy bubble on top. And then two thin slices of dill pickle on there, right on top. A little bit of mustard right on top of there. And
Excellent.
let me tell you,
Excellent.
it's a stacked sandwich. I cut it in half, give half to Steph, and it gets the job done. It's amazing. A- And
Nice.
and your pastrami, and here's the thing: a lot of times we'll talk about like doing the smash burgers, and I put a cheddar cheese in like that. What you have to have is a meat that is bold enough to stand up to these other bold flavors you're putting on top. Otherwise, you just mask the meat. If I did some regular grocery store lunch steamed turkey with all those things, the turkey's there, but you're tasting all the things. But
Hmm.
your pastrami has enough going on there that even with all those other flavors, they just add to and support the pastrami, which is shining through and really is the star of that sandwich. Yeah,
Awesome. That's a
yeah.
great sounding sandwich.
Oh, it's
Um,
amazing.
I've, like mayo is for me is a necessary evil. I'm not big on mayo, but um, recently though, because I've heard all the rage about it and everything, and I saw it at Costco, and I was like, oh, well, let's get it, try it out. It's some
Yeah,
damn good mayo. QP mayo. Get yourself some QP mayo. QP mayo. It's all about QP mayo,
I still have never tried it. I still have
dude.
never tried it.
Dude, go get the QP mayo. Your
Okay,
life will be changed. It is
okay.
hands down. Like, I'm not some mayo connoisseur. Like I said, I've never been a big fan of it. It's a necessary evil. QP mayo is not a necessary evil. It's just necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. That's
um,
listen, I'll tell you what, I have known about your aversion to mayo for years, brother. I've known you a long time. And so if you're saying this is what we have to do as far as a mayo,
yeah,
I'll check it out. That's a
it's
resounding
Japanese
endorsement.
mayo. It's got a little bit more of a tang and umami flavor to it.
Ooh,
Um, I'm gonna probably go back to Costco and get a couple more because I love sriracha mayo, but I've always just bought it. I have a
yeah.
particular brand that I get that's really good. But
Yeah.
with this QP mayo, I'm just gonna start making my own sriracha mayo because
Yeah.
it's that's such good stuff.
Okay.
And I suspect that's probably what this sriracha mayo brand uses. It not necessarily QP, but it's like a Japanese um, mayo base where
Yeah.
it's already packed with a lot of punch to it. So
Yeah. And they use additional egg yolk, don't they? More egg yolk than a standard like European mayo?
yeah, it's a bit creamier.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I've got to get a bottle. I'm going to be out later today because I've got to get my stuff together. I'm going to do a shepherd's pie later, and
Nice.
all the shit that I talked. I'm going to do it with lamb, of course, because shepherds herd sheep, and that's what they've got on hand. So I'll do one with lamb, but I know it's not going to be anywhere near as good as it was. What was it, Black Wolf, that's doing that today, right? Or who was doing the
No.
shepherd's pie special menu?
Um Dueling Spoons.
Dueling Spoons, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, and they're doing one with
I need to
beef,
get
which
back
is
there.
in the US, that's traditional. Shepherd's pie, everyone does it with beef, so I'm not here to judge or talk shit. I was talking shit to you, of course, because, because I love you. But, yeah, I'm gonna do mine with lamb, and we'll go from there, yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, pastrami. More's coming.
Good.
And it'll probably just continue that way just because I can't stop making pastrami. And with making so much pastrami, I was like, to eat pastrami, usually you need bread. Although lately, I've been sticking it on low carb tortillas with a little melted Havarti,
Sure.
just to keep it simple and light so I can still enjoy my pastrami with a little carb, but not full blown carb.
Yeah.
But then like I've been making the move away from not all bread, but just kind of bread in general. But I still make room for sourdough because
Yeah.
sourdough's, especially a homemade sourdough. Sourdough is actually probably one of the best breads that you can eat.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, maybe I should take a hand at making my own sourdough. But obviously, with
Ooh.
making your own sourdough, you need a starter.
Yes, you do.
And for those not familiar, highly recommend you go investigate it and everything. I'm not going to get all into it right now. Maybe we'll do an episode in the future where we'll talk about bread, but
Yeah.
we're not all about just, fermenting beer or alcohol here, fermenting bread, or brewing coffee or whichever.
Yeah.
But so I've started my own sourdough starter. Today is day 8. And I'm using some very high quality ingredients.
Yeah.
Flour and water,
Yeah.
and very
Stuff's
high
hard to come
quality,
by.
very high quality, locally sourced flour,
Yeah.
and locally sourced water out of
Yeah.
my tap that's been filtered heavily. But yeah, it's coming along nicely. Probably see a reel or something on our Instagram with that soon.
Yeah.
I've been talking to my starter, usually more in an aggressive tone. It's I've named it Beast, so
Yeah.
it seems to be like the hostile talk.
What's the matter, Beast? Too kind and gentle to fight back.
And I kind of berate it a little bit, and then a few hours later, it's like okay, yes. And when I don't do that, it's just kind of like sad looking and everything. So I've just started,
Yeah.
talking aggressively to it, and it seems to enjoy that
You gotta
and
motivate
respond
it.
well. Yeah, I'm basically motivating it, and
Yeah.
it's taken the motivation very well. So
Good.
hopefully, in the next week or so, it'll be ready to start making some bread here. I'm also
Yeah.
looking forward to all the stuff, making the stuff that comes along with, your starter discard as well. There's a lot of sourdough starter discard recipes out there. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's
um,
one of the things that we see all over Instagram. People are using the
that's the other
starter
thing,
discard for
driving force is seeing all this stuff. And I'm like, damn it,
heck
I got to
yeah.
start a sourdough starter now.
Totally. No,
So
people making discard pancakes and English muffins and what have yous, and yeah, 100%, man. I can't wait to see what you're making.
yeah. And actually, we'll save that for another episode. Hopefully, when our great friend Danielle comes to
Yeah.
visit, she's actually coming to visit here next month. And maybe we can record an episode. She's kind of starting up her own little home baking business.
Yeah.
Moxie, is it Moxie Girl and
Yeah.
Bake? Yeah, Moxie Girl Baking Company. And yeah, so she's actually started her sourdough starter around the same time that I did as well. So we're always texting back and forth every day about our progress. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to talk about that, talk some bread.
Yeah, yeah, I can't
Yeah,
wait to have her on. We've been chatting about that recently, and just it'll be so much fun because she's doing it every day. She's making some fun stuff. She's on the Instagram as well, so everybody, go
she's
find
literally
us and
she's
find
been
her.
baking like almost practically every day, I think, for like the last 7 months.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
doesn't do she's been doing like rustic loaves and stuff, but I finally, after convincing her and other people telling her, she's started her own sourdough starter. So she's going to be getting into sourdough.
yeah,
Um, and she's been doing the whole iced fancy, frosted cookie thing and whatnot and all that. So, yeah. So we're stoked.
No, really cool stuff. I'm doing the rustic loaf. That's my standard go-to. I've got a couple of recipes I do that are just easy. Just make a quick bread. But yeah, I've wanted to get into the sourdough starter. So I think watching you, and then when we have her on to talk and do an episode, maybe that'll inspire me to finally take the plunge there. But yeah, I can't wait to see what you do.
We can all like share our starters.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
the way starter works, every starter is different because, mine is utilizing all the yeast bacteria that's floating around in the air in my house.
Yes.
And then, hers is utilizing all the yeast bacteria floating around in her house.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the bacteria also stems from our own microbiomes on, our skin and everything from when we're handling that starter with our hands. That bacteria also gets in there and plays a role. So,
yeah.
In reading all of this, it's just really cool how everything, in your own environment goes into your sourdough starter.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, well, it's very interesting. I saw an interview with people that do Boudin Bakery in San Francisco, and they're one of the famous sourdough makers. And somebody had asked them, like, well, what about somebody coming in and stealing your starter and taking it and making a competing company? Because there's, it's very unique, and it's you know it when you taste it. And they said, anybody can come in here and take our starter, and once it leaves this building, it's not going to be the same, because they'll take it somewhere else. As soon as they open it up, it'll get exposed to whatever their microbiome that's local, and it'll change, and it won't be the same. You can only make this bread in this building. And I thought, wow, that's so cool. Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I think probably right now we should take a quick break here. We've been running for a little bit. We'll see what we've got. I don't know if we've got a trail report or maybe a short interview. Who knows? You'll see what it is. And we'll be back shortly to talk about more beer.
Yes.
Beer. Be right back.
All right, we are here at the Hiker Hub. Tell us your name, first of all.
Okay. My name is Tanner McLean. I've been here at the Hiker Hub for about 2 months now, but I've been in this industry for about a decade. Right. We came into ownership of the store September 1st, and we have been working on bringing up our retail side of things up until about a month ago, and we've been working on the beer and wine side of things since then. And it's been a blast, man. It's been so much fun.
Tell us about what you got on tap right now. Does that rotate?
It rotates all the time. Our system is only capable of handling 6 stills right now, so we are changing kegs constantly. In the last month, we've brought on 2 new distributors. So we're running on 4 taps, alternating out constantly. We try to keep on a stout, an IPA, something light, and something that's a wild card. So right now we're in sour season. So my wild card is Urban Artifacts Cappy Snacks Sour. Super happy to be expanding our offerings through more distributors like Ad Vintage, which serves North Carolina, Georgia, and South Carolina. We're keeping it as regional, local, East Coast as we possibly can.
Absolutely. And we're downtown Spartanburg.
We are.
I'm just going to pan around the room.
Please do, yes.
This is the coolest place. They just recently added the tap bar.
Right.
So it's been a popular Hiker Hub location for a long time.
Hi,
we got
it's
some
Easter
guests.
weekend, and this is
Got
the
some guests
place
in
to
from
be.
Hawaii.
Definitely.
Hello, my beautiful wife. What do you say to everyone when they're coming through Spartanburg about the Hiker Hub?
Oh, the Hiker Hub is a vibe. It is the place to be if you're looking to hang out with cool people and have good conversation. We don't have any TVs in here, but we've got awesome stuff to buy and great people to chat with. So.
Absolutely. We don't need TVs.
We don't need TVs.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Drunkenly mix metaphors and travel Hoppy Trails.
All right, welcome back. That was a well-needed break. I actually, I should have brought it with me. I grabbed a couple of Bavarian meat sticks because I have so many bags now because you sent them to me, brother. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Love those.
Thank you, Bavarian Meats, for making such high quality beef sticks.
High quality beef sticks, man. I'm telling you, I love them. The baby loves them. Steph loves them. They're wonderful. When we couldn't get them locally anymore, you're my hero. You sent me 4 bags. That's gonna last me definitely through the end of the weekend.
I'm your meat stick hero.
That's right. That's right.
Anyways,
Yeah, I have not been doing much on the brewery exploration front. So I have very little to talk about as far as my own Hoppy Trail, but good thing there's 2 of us or this show would be boring.
yeah.
One of
So-
us did adventure on the Hoppy Trail.
Mhm. Done a lot. Too much to talk about in one episode. But after we got back from South Carolina,
Yeah.
I recovered a little bit. Gained back my wanting for beer.
Oh yeah.
We my wife and I, we went to what was it, the following weekend? It was the Oakshire Brewing Hellshire Fest, which we're going to be devoting a future episode to talking about that. We'll bring on a newfound friend that we made there,
Yeah.
Tom, and he's going to bring some beers that he bought from it, beers that we bought and sent to Travis as well. We're going to
Yes,
do
indeed.
whole tasting episode and talking about that Hellshire Fest.
Yeah. I can't wait. That's going to be a lot of fun. We'll do a
For
live
sure.
tasting.
And then what else did we do? Oh, that wasn't the weekend after we got back from South Carolina, but the weekend after we got back from South Carolina, we actually went to Ale Song.
Yeah.
Because we're 6 bottle members there, and so while I was gone, they actually had a bottle release, so we went and picked up our allotment and enjoyed a few tastings there. And then after that, we went by Drop Bear Brewing that we had heard about. It's been around for a while in South Eugene. And they're a really cool little brew pub.
Yeah, now
really
Drop Bear,
yeah.
when I think of Drop Bear, I think of Australia, right? And they've got, I guess the myth that they tell out of towners, right? Like watch out for the drop bears or whatever. That's what I
Yeah.
think of. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. 2 folks from Australia that opened this place.
All right.
And great food. What really stood out to me, but I guess that's changing very soon here, is because I believe they've been operating for the last almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And I believe it's a single barrel operation that they've been running.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a lot of labor for not a huge quantity of beer.
Especially when we went in, they're offering, I think they had at least 7 or 8 of their own beers.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But they're in the process of expanding their brew house. And I think they'll be moving up to like a 7 barrel or 10 barrel operation.
Oh, very
So,
good. Yeah. That's kind of the perfect size. Where as we were talking about being your, local neighborhood brewery, I think the 7 to 10 barrel range, even down as low as 5, but yeah, 5, 7, 10, that's kind of the optimal range for that. So you can get a good amount of beer off of each batch, so you're getting something for your labor, but still be able to have, a good range of beers. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So, no, they were a great spot. Like I said, amazing food. They do some pizzas, they do some burgers and sandwiches, salads, all that.
Yeah.
Monica and I shared an amazing pizza. I think it had like pear on it and
Ooh.
some other items. It was just great pie. And then I'm trying to find it. So they, we obviously, we got a whole bunch of beers to taste and everything. I think we ended up getting 2 flights, but the beer that stood out the most for me was, it was called Creamy Beanie.
Creamy Beanie.
So it's a cream ale.
Yeah.
Brewed with coffee.
Interesting.
Yes.
What's the color on it?
So golden in color.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like this, just like any other cream ale, but such a great smooth coffee flavor to it. And in talking with them, so there's coffee roaster up in Mackenzie, which is up in going into the Cascade Mountain Range here east of Eugene, called Slow Joe Coffee.
Okay.
And so they get custom roast from him. And so they use that roast for making the creamy beanie. And it's just called the Drop Bear roast.
Okay.
So much that they also sell bags of the Drop Bear roast by Slow Joe Coffee at
Very
the brewery
nice.
there. So that was
Yeah.
actually the first bag of beans that I ran through my new espresso machine, is that Drop Bear roast. That's probably why I haven't been able to get enough coffee, because it's just tastes so good. The crema on it is just amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice mellow, and it's got some fruitiness to it. Anyways, Drop Bear Brewing, really great place. We're gonna go back soon so that we can check out. Hopefully, they'll give us a little sight into their new brew house operation and everything. They said it should be done in the next month or so. So
Are they
um,
doing it at the same location, or they expand? Like how are they getting larger
same
equipment in?
location. So where they're at is on the corner, and it looks like it used to be an old restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Whatever restaurant it was. And I think they just made do with the space that they could fit to maintain keeping a kitchen, but then also adding in a brew space.
Sure.
And I believe that's probably why it was limited to just a single barrel operation.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now I believe they've kind of expanded out off of that space in the back to accommodate a larger brew house.
Oh, that's great. That's really
Mhm.
good. Okay, so yeah, so they're not gonna have to relocate anything like that. That's
Nope.
good. Are they doing any off sale? They doing any cans or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Probably not because of just how small their operation is. I suspect they just make enough for them to stay afloat and keep stuff, on tap. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I really want to try that creamy beanie. It sounds really good. I know with a while back, we were experimenting with a coffee Kolsch, and I never got to actually get a taste on it. But I know they did several iterations using coffee from the Bearded Bean that's over here in the Monterey area, and everything I heard was, oh, it's really great. Everybody loves it. But we never stepped forward with it, and I never got to taste it. So these lighter colored, but with coffee, it seems very mysterious to me because I don't know how you extract the coffee flavor without the color. So I would love to taste one and see how they do it, quite frankly. Yeah.
for sure, absolutely. Um, no, it was a great little spot. I can't wait to go back to it. Try more of their beers.
Yeah.
It was just a nice place to hang out. Had just a nice vibe to it, and very. It seemed also very family friendly and everything.
Yeah.
So, I not that it's really that far. Wish it was a little bit closer to us, but I mean,
Yeah.
since it's on the opposite side of Eugene from us, we usually have to deal with the Eugene traffic to get there. But
Yeah.
definitely worth the drive to get there. So,
Okay, well, next time I'm up, we'll have to go. Absolutely,
yeah.
I'd love to
Oh, for
check that
sure.
out. And
Definitely.
I'd love to talk to them and hear about how, how they were doing starting off with the 1 barrel system, and by then, hopefully they'll have their 5 barrel or 7 up and running, and we can hear about just how much of a change that is for them. I'm sure if any of our listeners or anybody listening in has ever thought about, man, how do I pull that trigger? That's another one of the options, is start off on that much smaller scale, less expensive equipment. You don't need as much space. You're going to be working a lot more, but you also then don't have the risk of, this is a brand new venture and now I have, 8 to 10 barrels of this one beer, and how do I sell enough of it to, doing it on that smaller scale.
For sure.
Yeah, is another way to start. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd love to hear about how they got it going and all that. We'll see if we can talk to them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then fast forward a couple weeks, so after the Helsher Fest we went to, meeting our new friend Tom. I think it was the following weekend, because our friend Tom lives up just north of us, about 40 minutes. We went to a place that he likes in downtown Albany called No Rails Ale House.
No Rails Ale House. Okay, and this is in
Yeah.
downtown Albany?
Yes. It's actually like a block away from where I got Monica's wedding band. So
Oh,
we're
very
familiar
nice.
with that area. Yeah. But No, another great spot. We go there to meet up with Tom. He'd also picked that spot because he was like, "Do you guys like pho, Vietnamese food?" I was like, "Hell yeah, we
Ooh,
do."
yeah.
There's a Vietnamese place right next door to No Rails. They're actually connect. So like when you go to the bathroom at No Rails, you go through this door and it takes you into a hallway and it connects to the back hallway of the Vietnamese restaurant next door. So
Yeah.
you can actually order your food at the Vietnamese restaurant and then just let them know, "Hey, I'm at No Rails," and they'll come and bring the food to you at No Rails.
Nice.
Uh,
Nice. I like that.
so it's nice because the Vietnamese restaurant, it's small, so there's not much seating in there. So worst case, if there's not enough seating, you can just go park yourself next door and enjoy beer, and they'll bring your food out to you.
Oh, that's outstanding.
But
That's great.
that place was called Boz, Boz Vietnamese Kitchen.
And
And
do they have like kind of the full Vietnamese menu there? Are they more focused? What?
um, it's like a small variety. So they have like a beef pho, a chicken pho. They have like this ginger chicken noodle salad type thing.
Good times, noodle salad.
Yeah.
They offer banh mi with a few different protein options.
Yeah.
They have they have like the shrimp egg roll thing where it's like in the rice paper,
Oh
but then
yeah.
they have like a regular like fried pork egg roll.
Nice.
And then they have like a select, they have Vietnamese coffee. They offer some of the boba stuff and everything.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like a few options from a larger Vietnamese menu. Um,
You know, it's it's
yeah.
it's really interesting. A lot of people when they see like, especially like the banh mi for the first
Hmm.
time, and it's confusing because you look at it and you go, "This doesn't seem like an Asian item," but when you know the history of Vietnam, the banh mi, a lot of it comes from the French occupation, right? Because you've got
Yep.
the baguette that it's on, and that
Yes.
was, brought by the, French, colonizers, and then, mayonnaise on there,
Yep.
which again comes from the French, and, pâté, which will be
Yep.
on there, and that again, the
Gun
French,
comes
so it's
from the
that
French.
combination of the French and Vietnamese, and even the the pho is influenced by the French occupation as well. A much sadder story in that if you get a traditional pho, a lot of times there is tripe and tendon and things like that. And a big part of that was because when the French were occupying, it was similar to other areas where the people have not been treated equally in that a certain group is taking all of the best cuts and leaving what would be considered the scrap and the waste for the others, and so they learn how to make something delicious with it. And anytime I get a pho, I get, whatever special combination or whatever they call it. And even if it's not on the menu and you tell them, "Hey, let me get your special combination," they know, and you'll get your chewy tendon in there and some tripe and all kinds of different stuff. And it's delicious. I like it. Yeah, and you'll get your brisket and your round and a couple of meatballs in there too. But yeah,
And
so
that's
any
what their beef is kind of like the best of all the nice cuts of beef. So it's got like a piece of brisket in there. It's
yeah,
got your rare steak that's sitting on top that's still, rare for you to
yeah,
mix into the broth to cook it. It's got, a few meatballs that are cut up into quarters.
yeah,
Um, and all that. Such amazing broth that they've made there.
yeah.
Really good spot. But I'm not here to talk about necessarily the food, despite it being amazing food. So I'll continue talking about No Rails.
Oh yeah.
Huge beer selection on tap. I think I counted like 50 taps.
Oh wow.
Yeah, huge, huge. They're off the rails.
Yeah.
And and then on top of that, they've got a little array of cans and a fridge, and then along a back wall, well, actually two back walls, they have a bunch of shelves with bottles. Primarily like your stouts and barley wines and all that and
Yeah.
everything. He's just got a wonderful curated collection going on there.
Nice.
And we walk in and we're looking up at the digital menu, see what he's got on tap, and right away I see Pliny the Elder. I was like, huh, okay. And then I see Mind Circus next to it. I was like, huh, okay.
I don't know Mind Circus. What's that one?
That's the hazy produced by Russian River.
I haven't had it yet. I haven't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
seen it
yeah.
out in the world.
And so that's actually a Russian River beer that I actually really like a lot.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one that I saw up there? One other popular Russian River. And I was like, okay, 3, 4, 5 Russian Rivers on tap. Wow. I was like shot in the dark, and I asked the guy, I was like, did you happen to get Pliny the Younger? And he
Yeah.
just kind of smiles. And he's like, we did. I was like, oh, nice. Did you guys enjoy it? He's like, we still got it. I was like, excuse me?
Right? Yeah. That's never the response you
No,
hear.
that's never
ever.
the response, considering because they had gotten their keg like 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
And so the way that he's doing it was like I guess like a drawing system, rather than, basically limited to 1 glass per person. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he has some means to keep track of who's gotten one or what already, so that then the next time they come back in, they don't get any more. But so then his thing is he wants as many people to be able to try it as possible.
Yeah.
And so he was only doing 5-ounce pours of it. And
Yeah.
hey, that's awesome. Like that's great. Cause like I was telling, and he was like, yeah, I've heard, I was telling him about places in the Bay Area where that, they're even closer and they get it and they'll post that they're tapping it, their keg. And within 2-3 hours, it's gone.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, I wasn't trying to be like that.
Yeah.
He said, I want everybody to try it, as much as possible. So, and I told him, I was like, well, I don't know how the drawing thing works, but I'm willing to, like, she's never had it before. We're from the Bay Area. I had it once, like 6-7 years ago. And she had always wanted to get it, but we didn't want to stand in the crazy long lines for it and
Right.
everything. And he's like, oh yeah, of course. I'll pour you guys a couple glasses. And so
so great.
we were able to get our hands on Pliny the Younger.
That's I've never had it, brother. I've never
it was
tasted
just
it.
wild that we're 600 miles away from Russian River.
Yeah.
And we're able to get our hands on it where a lot of people back home normally struggle to get their hands on it.
So cool. That's so cool. And I like the way that he's doing it. Like you said,
sure.
maximizing the number of people that get to taste it. That's awesome.
sure.
I like it. Like I said, I've never had it. And it's been one of those things that's been being released for a long, long time. But as you said, back in the day, it was, if you wanted to taste it, you had to be in line. A lot of people camped out overnight in line at the brewery. There were certain years that people who had slept on the sidewalk, some of them were too far back in the line and didn't get any. And it's just, it's insane. So I'm glad that they're that it's being distributed out. But even still, as you said, most places, hey, we just tapped it. 2 hours later, it's gone. You don't even have time to get to where it is. So this is really great. I like that mindset of, no, let's let as many people as possible try this and share in it. I like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
So no Rails Ale House, great spot. Tons of seating, like just a very, like, because usually when you go to like one of these tap rooms, especially in a downtown area, you walk in, there's not much, seating space. It may be enough seating for like, 15, 20 people. This place, it was very spread out, like from the seating at the bar to the opposite wall was a good like 20 feet. 25 feet. So they could easily fit 2 rows of tables in there. They didn't, it's just a row of, staggered tables and stuff. So there's still plenty of walking room and everything.
Nice.
And it just goes the building is easily like, 60 feet, 70 feet deep. So it just goes way back. So it's not like one of those, like on a crowded Friday, although granted it's a small downtown of Albany, I think there's maybe like 70,000 people there, but, even if it was in a bustling downtown area, it's not something where you're going to be like shoulder to shoulder on a popular night or something. There's still going to be some breathing room, and it's just a great space overall.
That's great.
They've done a nice job with it. Yeah.
That's really good. That sounds like the type of place I'd like to go to. Yeah, when we were younger, you're a little bit more willing to go into the kind of packed and fight your way to the bar and like that. Come on, man, I'm too old for that. I want to be able to go up, get the beer I want, and go relax without somebody.
I want to be able to hear the people that I'm having a conversation with. Like,
yes, 100%.
Old man problems.
Well, that's another place that I want to check out when we're up there next. I
Yeah,
don't know
for
when
sure.
it'll be,
For sure.
but we definitely need to get that on the
Definitely.
books. Well, brother,
That's it, man.
I think we need to tell everybody where to find us and all of our various things.
HoppyTrailsPod.com.
Easy. Right
Easy.
there.
Done. Hit that easy button or
That's it.
click that mouse, whichever takes you to that website.
Yeah.
It's not much of a website, but it'll take you to all the things that are necessary to either listen, see us, or all of the above.
Yeah. Send us emails if you think, man, you guys are the worst. Keep that to yourself. But no, you can email it to us. We just won't read it. But if
I'll
you want to
read
tell
it.
us how
wallow
amazing
in
we
it.
are, absolutely do that. We'd love to hear it. And go leave us a review on what is it?
The
Whatever
Spotify's,
Spotify. Yeah. Give us
hit
a
that
little
subscribe button.
thumbs up or whatever it is. But show some love. And send us a trail report. If you're out there, if you're out on the Hoppy Trail, there was a place that you loved, you had a good beer, good sandwich, whatever. Send us a little trail report.
Not everybody wants to listen to just us talk about beer. So that's why we have take these breaks so we can include you in talking about beer as well.
Yeah.
Maybe if you send us enough things talking about beer for us to play during our breaks, we'll just have you come on an episode and talk about beer.
We've done it.
We've done it. We'll do it again.
We will. It's true.
Tempt us.
It's true.
Tempt us.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think all there is left to do is remind everybody, always say yes to that hoppy ending.
Always say yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The preceding podcast was produced by Sequoia Productions, LLC. Copyright 2022. All rights reserved. If you enjoyed this show and you're looking for more, or even if you're looking for something a little different, check out the other amazing shows by Sequoia Productions, wherever you get your podcasts, or on sequoia.com.
Hoppy trails to brew until we drink again. Hoppy trails to brew. Keep sharing with your friends. Who cares about which IPA tastes better? ABV are just a couple letters. Hoppy trails to brews until we drink again.
Wish I had some coffee right now.
You're a changed man now that you've got that machine.
Dude, I stare at the machine like, I know I shouldn't have a cup right now, but I really want to use my machine. It's worse than owning a kegerator. You just stare at it and it's like, I'm sorry. Like, I feel like you should just have beer flowing out of you all the time.